Hello and welcome to our very first live stream on Stone Star Media's YouTube channel. My name is Mike, and I am joined by two people, and those two people are my partner in crime, Matthew Weston, who's over there. Say hello, Matt.
Hello, hello.
All right, I said say hello, Matt, not hello, hello. You got to stick to the script here, Matt. You know,
Sorry.
we're running a tight ship. And also, I'm with Chris Green.
Hello.
How you doing, Chris? You good?
I'm good. I'm really good, thank you, mate.
Chris, you're from Galloway Green.
Callaway Green. Yeah.
Calloway Green, amateur. I've already slipped up, and it's the start of the show. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, your background, before we get into what we're talking about today?
Yeah. So really quickly, I run a digital marketing company, and I guess essentially we're just working with companies, small and large, to help them use the internet to get more business and to grow their business. And I think it's probably a good time right now for us guys to help as many people as we can do that. So it's what we do.
Definitely. Well, the whole point of this live stream is to help people and businesses. That's what we want to do. We want to help people out. Any advice, any tips that we can give people, and that's kind of what inspired Matt and I just to get together and do something. And also, we've been encouraging our customers to live stream, and we thought, well, we better practice what we preach and get people, to watch our live stream, because then they can't, point the finger at us. So we thought, why not? Let's do it. But today, we're going to be talking about remote working from home. How do you do it? What do you do? And we thought, well, it'd be good to have Chris on, because Chris has something that Matt and I don't, and that is children. Children, Chris. Matt and I have never. We're not. I don't know where they are, but they're somewhere. Yeah, Matt and I don't have children yet, especially together. We don't. It's not like that. And we just we thought it'd be good to have somebody else with a different opinion, with children, with a different kind of background, different kind of area in work, to chat with us as well about that. So I think what we're going to just have a general discussion, really, but. It's what's the date today? 25th of March. It's in the middle of this whole corona virus chaos. Generally, how are we all getting on working from home? Matt, maybe you want to chip in.
Yes, so I think actually so far it's been not too bad. I was dreading it, to be honest, because I think it's so much more productive to be in the office and around people, and it can be quicker to work on things together when you're in the same room as each other. But I think because we're all we know we can't physically go into the office because of the situation. We've put some things in place, and I think it's a main thing is like just being disciplined so far. So making sure that we are treating it like we are still in the office, and having a set time. So having that routine has really helped so far for me in these first 3 days or so of doing it. Just coming down. It's weird not having a commute. I was almost late somehow. I had to come downstairs. But yeah, so far so good actually. I think it's going to be strange after a while, but I think some of the techniques that we've been using, as well as some of the tools, have made it a lot better, which I think will come up in a bit.
Yeah, we're going to go into some of the stuff that we do at Stone's Throw, and just talking to you, Chris, just before we started, you've got things that we're not doing. But I don't know how you've been finding it so far, Chris, working from home. Do you do much work from home anyway, or is this kind of new territory for you?
Yeah. So the way we work, we've got a core team of 3 of us, and then everyone else is freelance. So we can be working with up to 6 or 7 people who are freelancing with us as well. But also we've got clients in California. We've got 2 big clients there. So a lot of our work is remote. This kind of thing. And I've been sort of going between working from home and working from an office for about 20 years now. So apart from having kids here, which I don't normally have, it's pretty much normal for me right now.
Yeah, good. Well, yeah. I mean, especially for us, Matt. I mean, we do work from home now and again, don't we? But it's really kind of weird that everybody's got to do it. So we're learning stuff as we go. But one of the things that we've started to implement straight away is morning group calls. We do it on Skype, but whether it's on Zoom or whatever, just getting the team together in the morning, we feel has been really useful already. Because it reminds you that you're at work. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you kind of forget that you're like, oh yeah, I'm still working. It's still a working day. And yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but it's just getting people on the same page, making sure people have got their tasks ready, and that's been a big help so far.
Yeah, I think having that morning phone call so far has been really good because it just perks up the mood, if anything. We're all just having a chat. How are you? What's going on?
Yeah.
For me, it's making me, make sure I don't just rock up downstairs late or get distracted by what's on daytime TV or don't even bother having a shower, coming down and doing that. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't do that on a normal working day, Matt, really. So, yeah. Okay, some of the tools that we use, things like LastPass, Matt, you wanted to talk about sort of what we use for passwords and GDPR sort of issues and things like that. Do you want to go through some of that?
Yeah, so a while back we implemented a system because you probably know what it's like in your organization. You've probably got logins to dozens and dozens of things. And if you're anything like what we used to be like, you'd have the same kind of password for almost everything, or maybe about 2 or 3 variations, because you can't remember all of those different passwords. And it was pretty poor on the security kind of aspect. So we implemented kind of working on having better passwords, and pretty much everything we've got now are 20, 30, 40 characters and just absolute gobbledygook. We don't remember them, but they're in a password vault. So it's all secure. It's got 2-factor authentication, which means when you're logging in, you've kind of got to use your phone as well, which it generates another code. So it's got all these extra layers of security. So it's brilliant from that point of view. But what's also fantastic is now that we're all remote, we can all still get into all the things we need to get into to be able to continue working without having to bother each other. What's this password? What's that password? Everything's just so much quicker.
Yeah, it does cost though, doesn't it, Matt? You do have to pay for it. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a ridiculous cost. I can't exactly remember what it is, but I think it's maybe around £5-6 per user, something like that, per month.
Yeah.
Something like that, I think. I'm pretty sure they do a free trial like most of these things. But I'd say it's definitely worth a trial and giving it a go.
Yeah.
We've never looked back really, and I'm glad we've got it now, because the amount of time it saves and the peace of mind that you get from it as well. You just know it's secure. You can set up little subfolders, so there's certain things me and Mike want to access that nobody else needs to know about, and there's certain things that me and other people who might be doing some marketing related tasks might want to have access to. So you can just set up things that only certain people have access to. So it's pretty good tool. There's probably other ones out there as well, but that's the one we've seemed to really get on with so far.
What about you, Chris? Do you use a password sort of system?
I use exactly the same LastPass, and I would say it's one of the main, not the main tools, but it's saved me so much time because I've got it on my mobile synced up with my laptop as well. So if I'm logging in and out of things there, it prompts you and allows you to kind of, through thumb recognition, is that right word? Through thumbprint, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You can use it all on your phone as well. So I think it's a phenomenal tool. Also, just talking about having kids and stuff as well. Obviously, their stuff needs to be secure. So I've got separate folders for my kids' software they use.
Yeah.
And my daughter's 14, so she's got the Adobe suite now as well, which is crazy. So all her passwords are in there as well under her folder. So they just, rather than them using their own name like they used to and getting hacked all the time, I've kind of so in a way my own little family is my own little business as well.
Yeah.
within LastPass. So
That's good.
it's phenomenal.
I've never
tool.
really thought about that. The time when it comes, I haven't really thought about having kids at all, really, and then to the point where they can make their own passwords. I'm like, oh god,
crazy.
It gets a bit mental, because I'm sure they make accounts for every damn thing that's going on the internet. So I didn't really think about, but I mean, I use it personally all the time, LastPass, and it was one of these things that come along and you think, oh, am I going to use this? Is this another thing that I have to remember? And it literally is everything I do now. in terms of passwords and things like that, and it's just taken that out of my brain. And for the business, for personal use, I think it's just been really, really useful. So there you go. There's one of the tools that
we've got a comment on the live chat.
Oh my God!
Unbelievable!
How the hell does that happen?
Applications, and they have said, "Hey guys, one password is a good one too." So maybe an alternative one to have a look at.
One password
from LastPass, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's another thing I haven't mentioned really. If you do want to, chat to us live, you can do that. It's just, it's just amazing, this technology, isn't it? The internet, Matt, who'd have thought? So yeah,
it's going to be massive.
It's going to be massive.
It's going to take off.
It is. It's doing well. Mr. Internet must have been proud. So some other tools that we use, pretty obvious one really, is Drive and Dropbox. I mean, I can't speak for yourself, Chris, but at Stone's Throw, we're pretty clued up on making sure everything's in the cloud. I think most people are these days. Dropbox and I don't know which one's the more popular one these days, but we have slightly gone towards Google Drive. Everything we kind of do is on Google Drive. And, the only problem we face as a video company is that video files are just huge.
Massive.
They're huge. And when you get 4K footage in the mix, you still have to resort to hard drives. Fortunately, the animation side of the business is pretty much remote anyway. I mean, the information is on hard drives, backed up on hard drives, but also in the cloud, so we can do that no problem. It's the video stuff that we have to be careful with. But everything else, the kind of all the back end businessy stuff, kind of lives on the cloud. So, what's your system, Chris?
I think it's like we've been copying each other. We use Dropbox and Google Cloud as well. My preference is Dropbox just because as a designer it's just so much clearer. Everything's folded well.
Yeah.
It's just a much. So I've got about 20 years worth of work on there now. It's a bit scary.
Yeah.
I've got it backed up as well. I've got it backed up on a physical hard drive as well. But if I'm out and about, I can just draw down any file I need for any client. My only tip on those two things, I learned this a long time ago when I used to work on the newspaper. It just fold everything really, really well.
Yeah.
Because when you got to start mooching through everything, especially years worth of work, it gets a bit daunting. So just label things.
Yeah, I think
really well.
Like, I was getting into like how people name folders and stuff. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because it is kind of like it's this weird insight into people's lives when you look at. I'm not going to say their name, right? But I know a person that has a folder called Documents, and they put everything in there, and that kept me awake at night. To be honest, that hurt me when I found that out. We do it by year and then by project and things like that. That's kind of what we do. And obviously things that are kind of global, like logos and graphics and things, all sort of sit outside different folders. But it is interesting how people do that stuff. Anything else, Matt? Do you want to say anything about cloud storage?
Yeah, well, one thing I really like about Drive is it's got its own kind of little versions of Word and PowerPoint. They're called different things, but you can export them out in those formats as well. But the cool thing is the kind of collaboration that you can do on them. So, Mike and I, we often do this, don't we? Where we set up like a document for notes and things, and we can share it. We're both working on it at the same time. There's no like, save this version and send it on an email and that, all these duplicates and things. It's just live collaboration, but that's really particularly useful across a team. So, sometimes we might have like 4, 5, 6 people might need to see a document, and it's all just in one place, whether that's a document, whether that's a presentation or whatever it might be. So it's, I find that aspect really good with Google. And I know you can do that type of thing on Dropbox as well, but I think Google Drive is just quite, you can pretty much set it up today and get going immediately without any thought really. So we've been using it for years, to be honest. So it still surprises me how many people don't know about it. It feels like we've been using it since like
The
what
uni
2000.
days, Matt. Well, this is how basically it's kind of like what we used to do at uni, wasn't it? Sit at home, panic, and write something, and get it done. So that it's kind of like the uni days. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. I've mentioned sort of group calls and stuff like that. Now, Chris, you kind of scoffed at the fact that we're using Skype to make this call right now. All right, and the reason why we use Skype is because that's familiar to me, we was literally just planning this live stream so last minute. I was like, I don't need anything else new right now. But I know a lot of people use Zoom, and I think I might use Zoom for the next one. So what is it about Zoom? I've used it a bit here and there. What is it about Zoom that everybody is started using it all of a sudden, do you think?
I think for me, it's just a lot simpler. I mean, I think I think Zoom has forced Skype to get better. But as soon as Microsoft bought Skype, it just turned into a big mess. Zoom is really, really simple where it gives me a code. I send it to everyone who needs to be on the call, and they all appear down the side of the screen. So probably similar to what we're seeing now in Skype. And the way it flicks between them, we can send notes between each other. We can do if we're looking at a particular website, we can share the screen, and it's really fast for doing that. So I mean, but for example, when we're doing website projects, we'll get the website up on the screen, we'll get the client on board, and we'll literally make live changes there and then to the document. So it's just Skype might do it, but again, I think it's just I think it's like a lot of these tools. It's whichever one you're more familiar with. For me, it goes back to Nintendo, Sega kind of days. It's probably before your time. Probably.
No.
You're all
I'll
PlayStation, Xbox.
No.
But
we used to.
Games.
Yeah, don't get me started on video games. But yeah, you're right. You pick your battle, right? You know, and that's how I used to pick my friends, Chris. In the day, was like, you know, if I was a Nintendo kid, right, and if somebody had a Sega, I would befriend them so I can play their Sega. But you do very early on. You kind of pick what you're familiar with and stick to it in a kind of, it's almost in a counterintuitive way. Whereas I've stuck with Skype because it's what I use. I do a podcast every week about, you know, you don't want to go into about video games, but like we use Skype because that's what everybody, and we've tried like Discord and different things and it never quite works out. And Zoom's come about and it's making me think, oh, we need to try Zoom. But Zoom is great. I think it was born from inception for business. Am I right in thinking that?
I think so, and I think not relevant to this call, but their sales have gone through the roof right now because this is now how everyone's doing business. So, but yeah, I think like I say, it's whichever you want to go with, but Zoom or Skype, both work really well. Yeah,
I mean, I have to agree. I think Zoom nails it in terms of like just like low entry. You just need a link and a name, and you're in. Whereas Skype asks for this email and that email, and you might have set one up 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and now you can't remember, and it's got a ridiculous name, your username, you know, all this sort of stuff. Whereas Zoom is it's more just in and out, set up for business. So I think.
Can I share a weird thought?
Go for it. We love weird thoughts. This is the weird thoughts section, Chris. You go.
Weird thoughts. Have you got a graphic for this?
No, I don't.
Weird
thoughts. I can make one though. Yeah.
I went around because I've got kids. I went around my house just saying, right, I've got a call with Matt and Mike. It's really important. You've got to all be quiet. But when I went in my daughter's room, she's pretty much doing what we're doing now, but with all her mates doing the homework. Yeah. So she's got a mobile set up with 6 different people on the screen, all talking about their. And I thought, hold on, businesses now are struggling to adopt all this. Yeah. You know, CEOs making 7 figures or whatever, and my daughter, who makes very little money because she's 10, she's next door with all her mates all set up. So this will, I think, unless we get up to speed, I know us guys are, but people watching, unless you get up to speed, I think you may get overtaken by the next gen, whatever they're called, coming through, because they've just nailed it already.
They're going to be called the Corona gen. That's what they're going to be called.
C gen.
I made a weird thought graphic that went on top there. So it's there you go. I think you're right though. It's funny, isn't it? Like I was having a talk with somebody from a university about how all of a sudden everybody's had to catch up with this whole, how do I do a video stream? How do I do this? You know, going on Microsoft Teams, going on Zoom. People have no choice now whereas they might have just gone, no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. I'm not doing a video call. I'm not going on a webcam. Where too tough because you have to now, and it's like it's quite an interesting problem that everybody's faced with, and people have just had to learn it and gone, oh, actually, it's not even that hard to do it. And it's quite interesting seeing everybody's houses, I find, you know.
I put a collar on for you guys.
Oh, did you really? Well, I got chat. I was wearing some scruffy t-shirt. I had to put on the Stone's Throw one just to kind of look a little bit presentable. But yeah, no, it is quite interesting that everybody has to now learn it. Okay, other things that we use, obviously at Stone's Throw, we're big on Slack. Not being Slack, but the software Slack. And Slack is basically...
Oh, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Go on, go for it.
Sorry, Mike. Yes, just before we moved on, there was one other call. I use a different call system.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Small, and this is the one I really like. It's probably not as well known or popular, but it's called Whereby. It used to be called Appear In, and then for some reason they called it Whereby. I have no idea why. But the thing I really like about that is you can create a room really quickly. So we make like a stone's throw room. I just email that link to the person we're having the call with, and then it lets up to 4 people join it for free. You can obviously get premium versions and whatnot. But I just find that it's probably similar to Zoom in a lot of ways. But yeah, it's just really quick and easy. They click that link, they're in the call, no issues, no sign up this, sign up that, invite people and a lot of messing around. So that's what Skype is, to be honest. It's probably more in line with Zoom, but that's one I quite like myself as well, is Whereby.
Yeah. Okay. We, like I was saying, we use Slack for our communication. So I think Slack is kind of Stone's Throw's go-to how we're talking to each other. And Slack, we like Slack because Slack is work, and like WhatsApp is, personal. And that's kind of how we've always said it anyway. But I think Slack more than ever, that's where we put a list of our tasks, because usually, just a bit of inside baseball on Stone's Throw, we write our tasks on a piece of A4 paper called a weekly planner, and for some reason writing it down on a piece of paper kind of feels there's something therapeutic about writing it down. But at the moment, just putting all our tasks in a Slack channel where everybody can see them, cross them off as we go, and then doing that group call really kind of keeps the team together. I don't know what you're doing, Chris, to kind of keep your teams communicating.
So we use 2 tools, Basecamp and Slack. So Slack is the chat part of it. So all the different people in the team will just chat between ourselves if we're stuck on something, or just like you guys said, a bit of morale. How's it going? How's things going? Are you ready for this? Have you got this done? But Basecamp is our task management system, and I won't go into too much detail because it's pretty comprehensive. It's not cheap either. It's about £60 a month for the way we use it.
Right.
But we put all our clients on there. So every project is broken down into tasks.
Yeah.
And then every task has a person assigned to it, and also has a date when it's due. So when it's used well, everybody knows exactly what's going on. So that's a really good tool called Basecamp. But what I do personally, just talking about the paper, is because I don't know if I struggle with ADHD because my brain is just all over the place. So what I do is I look at the next 3 tasks I've got to do, and I write them. I fold a piece of paper so I can only see one task at a time.
Right. Okay.
If I can only see one task at a time written down, I only focus on that one. Rip it, scribble it through, go on to the next one, and then focus on that one, and then go back to my online system and then tick it all off on there. But I like to turn it into paper and then go back and then refer back to it online. That's
so Chris, have I got that right? You write it on paper and then you fold it so you can't see the other tasks, so you don't get distracted.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. And that sounds really basic, but it works brilliantly.
Well, I think that's what it is. I think sometimes you do have to play these weird mind games in your head of like whatever works for you, and everybody's got a slightly different way of doing things. But no, we don't really use Basecamp, to be honest. I'm just looking at it now, and it looks quite interesting. What would you say is kind of unique about Basecamp that others don't?
I think for you, because you're very much focused on video.
Yeah.
the way you do it is probably fine, but because we can sometimes have like a branding project and a website, and again we've worked with you guys to do video projects for us, so I wouldn't invite you to that, but I'd put that on there as well, so I know it's all being tracked.
Yeah.
So because of the variety of work we do, Basecamp works really well for that because it's all broken down into those specific things. So I would say I would have a task saying call Matt, see how they're getting on with the video for XYZ. And it's all kind of time managed as well. So I get an email in the morning from Basecamp saying these are the things you need to work on today. So again,
really?
I haven't got to think about it.
Yeah.
I remember I read something the other day saying your brain is a good problem-solving machine, but it's a horrendous filing cabinet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I try and remember as little as possible and have it all on there, and then all I've got to do is keep referring back to it, and then use my brain for something a bit better than remembering tasks.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, you're go on, Matt. Sorry.
Sorry, I said, Chris, the way you're using Basecamp might be kind of like how we use Trello. And the idea behind Trello is every project for us is a card, and then we populate it with all the details. So it's who is the client, what's their actual name, contact details, what's the project all about. It's in black and white. What are we doing for them, etc., etc. And there's a place where all of the chats can display. So I might say, hey, at Mike, how you getting on with this particular element? And he can reply, and we can upload files on there. It just keeps it all in one place. And then if the phone goes and somebody doesn't know much about that project, they can quickly familiarise themselves with where it's at. So it sounds similar to what you're doing, but maybe more detail in there. But the great thing about Trello is, for me, I quite like the visual aspect of moving cards from left to right, and I think they built Trello on the way that manufacturers used to work, where one element of a project has been done, and you pass over that card to somebody else in the factory, and now they do the next bit, and then you pass it to the next person, they do the next bit, and that's what I quite like, is the visual element of Trello, moving projects from left to right through various columns, and you can kind of get a nice, quick picture of where everything is. So I quite like that overall, but Basecamp is a bit more detailed. It sounds like.
Yeah,
Trello that's what I like.
I've used both. I do like Trello as well. The way I've got another tool I use called Pipedrive, which is for sales.
Yeah.
And it looks just like Trello. So I've got it goes across the board. So if someone's interested, then I've spoke to them, then we've had a meeting, etc., etc. It's the same system. So Pipedrive is really good if you're at home but you've got more of a sales type role, and you just want to keep track of who you've been talking to, when you need to talk to them next, and it looks just like Trello. So it's a whole board that goes across.
We got Amy Whale in the chat. I don't know if you saw that, Matt.
Amy. I was just about to say. That.
You carry on then, Matt. What's she saying?
So Amy Whale from 83 Creative, a design agency, is saying Harvest is a good one, and it syncs with Xero. So I've not come across Harvest, but we use Xero. So anything that integrates in with Xero, the finance system, might be relevant for some people listening, might not be for others. But it's
Cashwonga. That's what
it's good. If anything can link to that, it's all about bringing all the data together if it can. I think anything like that is smart, isn't it? If it can talk to each other. Another one we use we used to use Pipedrive a long time ago. But then we've switched to Active Campaign, and we find that quite a useful tool. And they've got a deals area which looks just like Pipedrive, but triggering out emails from it depending on what stage people are at. So there's lots of different tools, isn't there, when you really start thinking about it?
Yeah. Maybe there's too many.
Maybe there is.
So I think we've gone through most of the different tools and things like that. But I kind of want
one more.
Yo, go for it, Chris. Yeah, go for it.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right.
One I've just started using is called Blocker. So you set 25-minute chunks when you don't want to be on social media and get distracted, and it blocks YouTube, 3 or 4 others, whatever you choose it to block, it will block those sites.
Right.
And then you get this, when you go on the site, you get this huge picture of a goat yelling at you.
Yeah.
Which seems to work well.
I like that.
So that's a good little free tool just for. I think it works in Firefox and Chrome. Just keeps you on task.
Well, that kind of links to what I was going to talk about next, which is the Pomodoro technique of and I do this quite a lot because I'm pretty scatty when it comes to concentration. I don't know about anybody else, but I find it tough to concentrate. And in the office, I do tend to walk around and shout stuff just because I get bored. So I when I'm at home, I feel like I do this a lot more. Whereas I set my timer to like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And this is an actual technique, by the way. You just kind of concentrate for like 25 minutes on one thing or two things, and then you give yourself a break. But one thing that I heard that was really, really good was kind of combining it with chores, all right? Because you're at home, naturally things are going to kind of creep up or get in the way. Is like things like laundry. Put it in for an hour, and then you've got like an hour to do a task, and then you've got to get the laundry out, and you can give yourself a break and stuff. And I found that quite an interesting tip. And if my wife can hear me, she'll know that I haven't done that yet, because she's like, you haven't done the laundry since you've worked from home. But I just thought that was quite interesting, just combining it with different things in the house, allowing you to have like the mundane things in your home life to kind of come into your work life a little bit. But I don't know if anybody else has found any techniques or any interesting ways they can like work from home.
But I don't know if you could bring up that weekly planner image, Mike, of what we do.
You talk and I will work on that.
So what I find is, we were touching on it a little bit earlier, but just writing tasks down makes them so much more likely to happen. So that's why I feel like I got to start the day with writing tasks down, thinking about what we're going to do, because then that'll spark more discussions. But just the act of it's gone through my brain. I've had to now commit to writing it down and think about it again, like what am I actually writing. It's now, and I'm kind of making a commitment to myself that I'm going to do these things. And I like having, hopefully Mike's getting up on screen, this like weekly planner.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, go for it.
We all use this as a team, and we can all kind of like look at each other's, and you quickly realise if we run out of tasks, or that never seems to happen. But it just keeps them all in a nice, organised place and sparks discussions. And I quite like it's quite rewarding to have the little highlighter pen to just tick them off. Yes. Sometimes when I go shopping, I'll have a shopping list. And if I've forgotten something on there and I've picked it up, I do a weird thing where I write it down and then cross it off to reward myself. I feel better about it. So like, I don't know, it's just quite satisfying to do that. And I find that quite useful. Just a simple technique of having, pen, paper, highlighter, but also integrating it with digital and real life as well, with all these kind of tools we've been talking about. I think it's a bit of a combination, but there's probably a bit of, it depends on you as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, it does, doesn't it? You've just got to be disciplined in yourself. But I like to play little mind games just to say, right, laundry's on, or right, I've got a 20-minute timer going, I have to do this task or whatever, and it just works. But I think ultimately, yeah, it does depend on your sort of will to do it. But it's pretty challenging. Or it can get quite challenging. So, okay, and then I got to check.
Mike, sorry, Mike, is the feed working okay on YouTube? It looks like it's just
stopped,
stalled.
but then it started again.
Okay, cool.
I saw that. Technical difficulties. Everybody's using the internet.
Yeah, can they get it off, please?
Yeah, can you get off the internet except for watching this live stream? That's fine. Okay.
Comments. One more comment has come in.
Go for it.
So Deborah has said, I'm now checking out Whereby. Thanks for the tip.
No problem, Deborah. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Massive value.
And then I suppose another thing, we talked about weekly planners and things like that. Exercise. So one thing that we've encouraged people to do, I've said it on our group calls, is, if you are going for a walk, if you are like walking around the garden, just kind of let us know so we're not bothering you while you're trying to do a little bit of exercise, because I feel like some people might just kind of wander off and do it, or feel guilty about doing it. So it's just like, if you are going for a walk, if you are doing this, let us know, because we want people to kind of still be moving and exercising and stuff. And I think Tara's been doing, my wife, she's been running and all sorts of different things and walking around the garden Yeah, I don't know if you guys have done any exercise. I suppose kids is enough exercise, Chris.
Well, we've got a garden. It's like a 45-degree angle. So
Okay.
we're trying to chop into it at the moment. So I've got a wheelbarrow and I was filling it with soil this morning. But because you guys have inspired me to make videos, I spent longer filming myself doing it, and then editing it to music. Than I did digging. So my wife went a bit mad at me. She goes, "Can't you just dig?" I said, "No,
no. Welcome to my life, Chris. Welcome to my life. I don't get anything done.
I've even got like this pole where I connect it to the wheelbarrow. Then my phone was connected up here.
Nice.
And you could see me. I'll send it to you later. It's quite.
No,
epic,
yeah, I want to see that. My
wife got really annoyed with me, so yes, I would recommend that.
Matt, you go to the gym and whatnot. You doing that get ripped quick scheme. So how are you keeping fit at home?
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a spanner in the works since last week with all the gyms closing. But just for now, it's been, in some ways, having a little bit of rest is not actually a bad thing. So I've been probably going for like 6 months without any weeks of break, apart from Christmas maybe. So I haven't really done a great deal. The main things I've been doing is going into the garden, although I've set up my robot lawnmower, so I don't have to bother doing that anymore.
Show off.
I know. Although it was so much hassle setting it all up, I'd forgotten. I'd put in the wrong wires and all that. But yeah, it's all sorted now. But yeah, one of the members of the team, Sarah, has mentioned Joe Wicks. I think he does books on like how to make lean meals and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is doing like live streaming again. He's been live streaming half an hour exercise videos in the morning every day. So I've subscribed to his channel. I've had a little look at his videos. Yeah. Plan is later on I'm going to probably have a go at one of them and just to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like looking at him. He's just a dreamboat.
He is. He's getting almost as many viewers as us. I heard.
No, yeah. I mean, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. Jake Rogers in the chat. He said his gym lent us a plate each. Like a dinner plate, Jake? I don't know what you're talking about there. I'm sure that's a piece of gym equipment. And Deborah, who's from the University of Wolverhampton, I believe, said Royal Ballet classes. How about that?
Ooh,
online. Pretty cool.
Good idea.
Pretty cool.
Can I just ask Matt about this robot guy? Is this a robot version of a lawnmower, or is this a robot that mows your lawn for you?
Yeah, it's like a little, like the robot Hoovers. Little disc shape. It's a kind of like a bigger one of those, really.
Okay.
So the things I have to do, you have to put it away for winter because if it freezes, that's not good. So I've only just put it back out there, but I've had to mow manually just to get it. I've had to do that a few times. Not enough.
Hard work.
But then all the setup, I've forgotten how to set it all up, and I'd got it has to know where it is with these like boundary wires, and I'd got them in like the wrong slot, so it was like driving off the edge and all this stuff. But now I've sorted all that. Now I'm taking all the user error out. It's I've just set it on a little program, and it just goes up and down, and that's it. Fingers crossed, if there's no more issues, I won't have to do it. And the cool thing is, you don't have to like collect the grass because it's doing such fine cuts. It goes back into the grass and helps it grow, and then it just keeps cutting it like 3 times a week or whatever. And that's it. Fingers crossed, I don't have to do it anymore. Although with all this time on our hands now, I probably want to do it.
Yeah, this is how Terminator started, so you've got to be careful with that. I think he was a lawnmower before he was a killing machine.
Yeah. Come and get me.
He built himself up to it. You know what I mean? He built himself up to it. I've got a remote lawnmower on the screen now. But Matt loves this lawnmower, Chris. He talks about it so much. And
he's got kids yet.
Yeah, that's it. Like kicking it over and stuff like that. You wait. Okay. I am sort of multitasking, so I do kind of stall quite a lot. So, Chris, do you want to talk about kind of any tips for people, like for parents or things like that, from working from home? You go for it.
Yeah. I'm lucky in that my wife is a teacher, so she's been putting lesson plans together for my kids. I've got a real mix. I've got my oldest is nearly 15, then I've got a nearly 12-year-old and a 4-year-old as well. So I've got the whole range in the house. So the older ones, It's quite interesting. The schools have set them virtual homework and they've got virtual lessons.
Yeah.
So I think they have to go in at certain times and do these lessons together, which is pretty cool. But I think as a family, we've again, I mentioned earlier, I'm probably a bit like you, Mike, a bit scatty, bit sort of not scatty, but a bit get distracted easily. So I've had to put myself together a bit plan with my family. So we're saying, we're going to wake up at this time. We're going to do the Joe Wicks workout together. We're going to have lunch at this time. We're going to, so the day is kind of scheduled out, and the kids have almost got like a school day, not as intense as a school day, but they've got a few hours where they've got to all sit together and do their homework. My wife's also ordered books online. Might be able to link to them in the description or something, but there's some really good resources so the kids can work through different lesson plans that they would. So when they get back, they're not. They're not behind. They're kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the parents I know, their kids are doing more work at home, which is mad. So they'll go back even clever. Not many.
Yeah.
So for me, so it's all about schedule really, and I think that applies whether you've got kids or you haven't got kids really. I think when everything looks the same all the time and you sat in the same desk all day, in a bedroom or wherever, or in an office, a home office, you've got to get the variety and get the schedule in place. So the other tip I've got is I've got where are they? I've got noise cancelling headphones.
Yeah.
Good tip if you've got kids.
Just in general, if you've got kids, just wear them around the house.
I just wear them all the time.
Yeah.
So noise cancelling headphones. I've told them not to come in the room when stuff like this is on, which one tried too early, but they got told off.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the other thing I use personally is a thing called Brain FM. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
So I know we've overdone it on the apps, but there's an app called Brain FM, and it kind of plays. So you put your headphones on, it plays music, but it's almost like a backing track to a film.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's been tested scientifically, so it keeps you sort of focused.
Yes.
In for like 20 minutes at a time. So that's Brain.fm. I think there's a free version of that.
Okay.
As well.
Yeah, I mean, I go on. I do this in the office. I type in like low. It's called lo-fi music.
Yeah.
And it's like low entertainment and very very minimal stuff going on. No, not much in terms of lyrics and stuff. And it kind of gives you your brain something to it's almost like white noise, isn't it? You just need something to get it. I use that quite a lot. Yeah, and if you type in lo-fi music in YouTube, and it's just loads of stuff, so I do that quite a lot. Yeah, useful.
Kind of relaxing music on YouTube, and there's usually like 6-hour long videos, so you can just have it in the background. I was doing it for this call, so it's just a little bit of something going on. A possible tool that might be helpful for people. So I don't have kids, but my fiance's they're kind of our nieces and nephews, I suppose. Not officially, but you know what I mean. So they are all off school, and it's like, what do you do? And we've come across this pretty cool website, and it's called Education Quizzes, and it's been compiled by all sorts of teachers and people in the education sector. And the idea is there's quizzes for all different subjects, whether that's like English, maths, science, and there's probably loads others as well. And it goes all the way through the different stages, like Key Stage 1, 2, GCSE, and I think there might be others as well. I haven't gone massively in depth with it, but it's like multiple choice quizzes, and to hopefully something to keep people, something for the kids to keep doing that's education based. And there might be a way you can kind of view the results as well as a parent and see what they're up to and how they're getting on. So you can be Ofsted, the examiner.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah, I think I saw that, Matt. I think we both saw it at the same place, didn't we? Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, education quizzes.
I've done a similar thing. I decided because to keep myself active, I decided to try learning Spanish as well.
Okay.
So there's an app called Duolingo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's literally 5 minutes a day. I haven't remembered anything I've learned. I'm 4 days in.
Come on then, Chris. Come on. What you got?
Hola.
Yeah, pretty good.
That's it. That's all I've learned so far. But it gave me a gold sticker for that, so I was pretty chuffed.
Oh, well done! Congratulations.
So it may not last long, to be honest. It may not last till the end of the week, to be honest. But that's another one for you.
I managed to steal my brother's keyboard before all this kicked off, and I've been learning the keyboard. I got a guitar behind me here, which I play, but the keyboard is something that keeps me sane as well. Like I've been learning depressing songs, which is probably not a good thing to do during this time. So I think anything like that just to kind of keep your brain occupied. It's such a weird time, isn't it? But we are, there's been a few people in the chat, Deborah and things like that, and Jake and stuff. So if you've got any questions, we're probably going to start wrapping it up now. But this has just kind of been new territory for Stone's Throw. We just thought it would try. I think it's gone pretty well. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything, the floor is yours, Chris? Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say?
In Spanish?
Yeah, in Spanish, please.
I've only got one word in Spanish. Let me just plug my laptop in 2 seconds.
Okay. I don't know where he's gone, but he's mysteriously gone. But I think he's
Sorry,
charged.
I'm back.
He's charged. Was it your charge?
Sorry, my charge. I had 2% left.
Oh, Chris, you was pushing it.
I've got two thoughts. My first thought is a mindset thing. I run a thing called This Design Life. So if there's any designers watching, I've got a fairly big YouTube channel for designers. And this applies to any kind of creative person, half of them seem to have gone off the edge and said they've got no work, and the other half are sort of saying, well, it's carrying on as normal. So my mindset thing to everybody would be just to, things aren't normal, but think about how you're going to come out the other side of this. What new skills can you have? How can you maybe slightly reposition your business? So like for you, I know you guys are really focused anyway and you're creating content, but how much more content can you create right now, like this kind of stuff? So when we are back to normal, we're not really normal. We're beyond where we would have been, if that makes sense. Because this whole thing for me has made me consider everything, what food I eat, what exercise I have, how much learning and reading I'm doing, versus cabbaging out watching Netflix and that kind of stuff. So I would just encourage people just to think, how am I going to come out of this fast and strong rather than struggling? And I know some people in some industries are having a really tough time because it's tourism or restaurants or whatever. I understand that, but I think some of us have got a great chance to really push forward. So that's probably my final thought.
What's your final thought, Matt? Have you got any final thoughts? Anything you want to plug? Shout out?
I think you're right, Chris. I saw your video the other day about it's kind of you're either going to kind of create content or consume it now. And I'm sure, people are going to have a bit of downtime, a bit of watching Netflix, but it's a brilliant chance to create loads of content. It's almost like we're in this weird pause phase in a lot of ways. There's obviously still stuff happening, but everything's slowed down. So it's a great chance to work on things you never get a chance to. And not just content, I think, as well. It's like foundations. So whether that's like, let's have a look at the CRM we're using, or let's have a look at the, the communication tools we're using like Slack, or whether it's Trello or Basecamp. Great chance to try all these kind of things out and get some kind of really good systems and processes in place. Like you say, when we come out of the other side of this, you've accelerated forward of competitors who haven't bothered to look into this.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay, I think for us, what we're working on at Stone's Throw is just we've still got client work. We're still lucky enough to have work coming in, which is a great position to be. But we're also spending this time working on internal stuff. We always have things going on that we want to do, and it's like I was speaking to I had a landscaper in, and he says, "Oh, I bet your garden's brilliant," and he was like, "That's the one thing I don't work on. I work on everybody else's garden, but not my own." And it's kind of like that with Stone's Throw. It's like we work on everybody else's videos, but we don't work on our own enough. So we're kind of using this chance to what can we do internally? How can we use the team? Has anybody got different ideas? And Matt, this was kind of your idea, wasn't it? Like we're telling people how to do a live stream, and why don't we do it ourselves? So it's an interesting sort of time to be around business. But I think my only plug, I got a bit of a plug here, Chris.
Go for it.
Doing a charity live stream. One thing that I discovered last week was I just rang a bunch of customers up and asked if there's anything I can do to help. It wasn't a sales call, nothing creepy like that. I don't like to be salesy or anything. I just like to ring them up and I wrote myself in to hosting a quiz night, very much kind of like what we're doing now, like a live stream. So it's for Compton Care. It's like a £3 donation for them. So if anybody watching or whatever, just go to the Compton Care Facebook page and you can join in. And it's this like thing that you can play online. So that's the thing that I'm doing. Yeah, and I think Matt, you're going to be there. Is that right?
Yeah, I may well be participating in
there
this.
you go. All good. So that's the thing that I got to plug. Thank you so much for Chris for coming.
Pleasure.
And being our first guest. And I haven't looked at the numbers, but I assume they're in the tens of thousands.
Millions.
Yeah, and Matt, well, you've got to be there, aren't you? You know, you got to be. And thanks to everybody for watching. If you have any questions, if you want to come on the show, if you want to ask us anything about video or anything like that, let us know. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.